Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lunch Table. My name's Evan. Today I'm joined with Joel, Nick, and Zach. And today we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl was this past Sunday. But before we dive into that, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode, and to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at LunchTable.takes. Without further ado, we'll get straight into it. So the Chiefs won back-to-back Super Bowls, winning this game 25-22 in overtime.
Do we need to queue up the video of Nick saying congrats to the Chiefs?
What?
Yeah.
Me saying congrats to the Chiefs?
Remember from our video or preseason takes?
Yeah, I did say that. I said congrats on the. I think I said congrats on the Chiefs for making another Super Bowl.
Yep.
Or something, because none of us had them even going to the AFC title game. Which hopefully in the next a week or two, we're going to react to our preseason predictions and see how unbelievably terrible they were.
They were bad.
Yeah. But no, I do know that none of us had the Chiefs even making the AFC title game, which Evan said at the time was almost blasphemous to even suggest.
I think we kind of jinxed. We kind of spoke it into existence that the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl.
I would agree.
We did, in fact, do that. But this game was a fantastic game from start to finish. One of the best Super Bowls in recent memory. When you talk about elite, low-scoring football games, you will point to that game right there that we just saw. A bit sloppy in the first half, on just unwarranted turnovers from both sides, but second half was elite defensive football. And then Patrick Mahomes got going latter half of the third and all in the fourth quarter I think we all kind of expected. And Brock Purdy and the 49ers answered everything that the Chiefs threw at them until overtime. And it was just a great, fantastic, low-scoring football game from start to finich.
You gotta give Steve Spagnuolo his credit, dude.
That was gonna be my first thing. In terms, this Chiefs defense will not be remembered as one of the elite in NFL history because of who they have on offense and who their head coach is, but they should. They did not allow 28 points at all this season in any game. They are, I think, the fourth or fifth team in NFL history to not allow 28 points in a game throughout their whole year. And they didn't allow it in the most amount of games because obviously they added an extra game, but they're with the likes of the 2000 Ravens in terms of defensive dominance. So maybe not in terms of the team as a whole, but in terms of this specific season, Steve Spagnuolo, Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, George Karlaftis, that defense deserves the most praise, truly, in terms of where the Chiefs went this season, because we all thought offensively the receivers were going to cost them, and their defense did enough of the heavy lifting to the point where it didn't really matter. So I think Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense deserve a lot more praise than they're going to get based on this season alone.
I agree. I didn't know that fact about them not giving up 28.
The most points they gave up was to Green Bay. They gave up 27.
Jeez.
And I think the next highest team was Buffalo at 24 in the postseason.
And that's just impressive.
Yeah.
The amount of all-pros that they had on that defense were... they've done it the right way, though. They built from the draft. They've hit on draft pick each and every year. L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, guys all the way down the board. Each year they've hit, and it's definitely showing. Because like we said, heading into this season, you talk about how on the offense we were worried about the wide receivers. Wide receivers was our big preaching point. Little did we know the defense was going to be as dominant as it was. So, I'll piggyback off that, Nick. That defense deserves a lot of the credit, and they're not going to get a whole lot of it because of the guy on the opposite side of the ball.
trying to tackle like the non-offensive side, because obviously Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid is going to take up most of this discussion in terms of their legacies. On the San Francisco side of things, this is an absolutely brutal way to end a season and maybe just a roster in general, because they didn't do anything glaringly wrong in this game. The turnovers were, they actually won the turnover battle. They kept Patrick Mahomes in check for 80% of the game. They didn't take advantage of the opportunities the Chiefs kept giving them through the first 3 quarters.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Why are they giving Patrick Mahomes the ball in overtime at the end? Why are they
didn't
letting
know the rules? Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They wanted the ball, and you give Patrick Mahomes 4 downs.
Yeah, it was a bit of a blunder there on the 49ers part.
I will say the saddest part of the game, though, was Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was, oh my god.
That changed the game completely.
It
That
did.
was unfortunate.
Dre Greenlaw was playing in that game like a man possessed.
Everything
was
seems to go the Chiefs' way,
unreal.
man.
He was unreal in that first quarter, those first couple
game.
drives.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
He was all over the place, and then he just a freak injury, one that doesn't ever happen. He's excited to get on the field. He takes one wrong step, his Achilles explodes. And players and coaches are going to talk about turf versus grass. I've been a big grass guy. I don't know why they haven't switched to all grass fields across the NFL. I get it's harder to maintain, but they're billion-dollar companies. They can pay the costs for their players. But I don't know, like, what, apart from Dre Greenlaw going out, like, Brock Purdy didn't turn the ball over. Christian McCaffrey, even though he had that fumble, had 160 yards and a touchdown. Like, he had a fantastic game. He was their best player, and he had to be. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Chase Young played a really good game. Even though he only had 1 tackle, he had a sack.
It's like, if you go back to that game, the job that Nick Bosa and Chase Young did, keeping their rush lanes, was perfect.
Yeah, it was flawless.
It was flawless, exactly. It was flawless. They couldn't have done it any better.
Yeah, when they traded for Chase Young in the middle of the season, that's the Chase Young that they were trading for.
Yep.
And that's the Chase Young that we all expected coming out of Ohio State. But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid are just too much for any team in the NFL, really.
Not
and
one.
we're gonna get to the. I'll get brought up, I'm sure, at some point. But now we're gonna get to the offensive side of the board.
Zach and Evan, you want to go?
Yeah, can I say one thing about Dre Greenlaw?
Go for it.
So once he went down, he was out for the game, and the guy who came in to replace him, Oren Burks, he was targeted 9 times, allowed 9 catches, a touchdown, and had a 32.1 PFF coverage grade. So he got absolutely diced up. And Dre Greenlaw wasn't letting that happen, so that completely changed the dynamic of the game.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
But yeah, I mean, the first half was kind of a snooze fest, honestly. I thought we were in for like a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl.
Oh, I did too.
12-9 or whatever the heck that was.
I did too.
The 49ers scored on that trick play that I have no idea how they even completed. But
the fact that the first touchdown of the game was a passing touchdown from Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, well, shout out to Juwan Jennings. He played his tail off.
Yeah,
dude,
Juwan Jennings got rocked on that throw, too. He got lit up.
He did.
Yeah.
He was going to win the MVP if they won the game.
I was going to say, if the Niners would have won that game, he would have won the MVP.
Either him or Christian McCaffrey.
One of the two. Yeah, those were the two that I would have said, but jeez them.
Yeah, I mean, For me, I don't really have a lot to say, but I mean, you guys pretty much hit everything. But I knew it was going to be a lower scoring game because both defenses are top in the NFL. It was overall a pretty good game. I don't know. For me, I don't know. For me, it just kind of seemed like a little anticlimactic, I guess. I don't really know why, but it was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's the Super Bowl, Chiefs won is what it is. Figured it would happen, stuff like that. So Patrick Mahomes had a really great drive at the end of the game to close out the game. Yeah, overall, it was a pretty solid game. I don't. You guys said everything else.
I'm gonna just say this. It might get old, and we might not like it happening, but it's similar to Tom Brady. We're watching greatness take place.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
really
just gonna
know
leave it
why.
at that.
It's just like even like last year. Last year's Super Bowl was a great game, and it just was anticlimactic. It just was kind of like, oh, it's a Super Bowl.
It wasn't near as explosive. That's why.
Last year?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
No,
this
this
year
year.
wasn't as explosive
Oh,
as last.
this year, yeah. I was gonna say last year was, but no, yeah, no. This year it was a good game. Like I enjoyed watching the game. It was a solid game. I'm not like blown away by it, and I mean, obviously, that's not the outcome I wanted to see, but I mean, it is what it is. Honestly, good way to
Yeah.
top off the whole football season, I guess. The story of the whole year this year.
Also, this is the third time that Kyle Shanahan has blown a double-digit lead in the Super
That's
Bowl.
true. That's true.
Well,
But he was on the bad side of that Falcons Patriots Super Bowl too. Also,
Yeah.
this is also only the second Super Bowl to ever go into overtime, so that was cool too.
and
Kyle
both times
Shanahan
been
was
Kyle
part of the
Shanahan.
other one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Can I say this though too?
Yes.
Steve Wilkes, what are you doing calling an all-out blitz on Patrick Mahomes? And then also, third and 14. And you're playing, I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand you're playing the sticks, but holy cow, at least give me some pressure.
This was like an all-time blunder by this 49ers team. This 49ers team was the best team in football for pretty much the entire season. And it wasn't much of a debate. This team should have won the Super Bowl. And I don't know if they're going to get another chance to. I don't know if they're going to be this good again next year or within the near future. This was just an egregious blowjob is what this was. You might have to edit that, Evan. I was saying that. I was like, oh, crap.
You did not just
That's
say
what
that.
she said.
There we go.
That
All right,
was
Joel,
an
what did you want to
egregious
say?
goose.
Is
No,
that three
blunder.
straight?
I was about ready to say something, and I just lost my train of thought. I just got my thoughts back down. My thing is, anytime that they got Patrick Mahomes in that offense behind the sticks, what happened?
They got the first down.
In the beginning, it was perfect.
Beginning, they didn't even come close.
They didn't
But
come
they did in
close.
the end.
If you look at that first half, if Kansas City got behind the sticks at all, they very rarely converted on first down.
Yeah.
You get late into that game when they took the lead, or even in overtime, you got them behind the sticks. It was a 3rd and 14, and obviously in overtime you got 4 downs.
Yeah.
You have to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
At 3rd and 14, and you're playing the sticks. They get that it was 9 yards back easy on a little curl route. That's all it was, curl route, and he got 9 yards. They're set right back up for a 4th and 5. Do you think Patrick Mahomes can't get a 4th and 5?
A 4th and very manageable, yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like,
Well, Dre Greenlaw going down certainly played a big part of it.
Don't get me wrong, that does. But at the end of the game, when you know who's on the other side of the field, Patrick Mahomes can dice it up.
Yeah.
We all know this. I just don't understand the play calls at the end from San Francisco's defense.
It wasn't a 4th down. It was 2nd and 14, and then it was like a 3rd and 7.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
That's why they didn't bring pressure on 2nd down, because they had 3 more tries to get 14 yards.
I think the other thing that we have to look at, though, is like the 49ers offense, too. Their offense just was completely inept in the second half. And you kind of got the feeling, like, as the game went on, like, through the 3rd and 4th quarter, like, you kind of started to get that feeling of, oh, crap, the Chiefs are going to probably pull out this game. Because, let's be honest, like, your defense is only going to hold Patrick Mahomes for so long, So when you have opportunities, like, when your defense holds him and you have opportunities to go down the field and get points, like, you can't waste them. Like, you can only waste so many before your defense just can't hold him anymore. And I think that's what we saw at the end of the game. I think their defense just couldn't hold him anymore. Their offense did not do a single thing in the entire second half. Well, particularly 3rd quarter. They didn't do anything in the 3rd quarter. So, offensively, they surely didn't help out the defense at all.
No. Not at all. I mean... Yeah. It was definitely when they had that last drive, MVS catches that ball and ends up going back like 7 yards. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. You're sitting there, you're like, oh baby, they got what they needed.
You're like, the Niners might actually have a chance.
I thought their receivers were gonna blow the game for them again.
Well, they did. He almost did.
Yeah, he almost did.
What I liked was they went right back to him the next play, and it
worked.
9.
Like 8 yards on a hitch route.
Yeah. I don't know. And then Steve Wilks. Did you see Steve Wilks got fired?
Yeah, that's not the call. That's not the play.
No,
he was being used as a scapegoat for change, but I don't know why the 49ers did that at all.
I mean, I think we have enough to say, honestly, the decisions that Kyle Shanahan made in this game are the reason that they lost.
Yeah.
Well, especially because he calls the offense, so their offense wasn't doing anything. So, I mean,
well, and you make the call that you want the ball too.
Yeah. Well, that was also just poor. That was a bad call, but that was also just poor preparation because they didn't even know the rules. Like, how can you not make sure your team knows the rules in this situation, So, yeah. I mean, I'm not firing him. Like, his job is
I'm not saying I'm going to fire Kyle Shanahan for it, but I think a lot of the play calling on his part was a reason that they lost this game.
Yeah, because like I just said a couple minutes ago, their offense didn't do a dang thing in the entire second half. And he calls the offense too. So, like, I mean, the Chiefs defense is really good, but I mean, you got to at least get yourself 3 points. Like, you've got to score at some point in this football game.
Well, the
decision to that's just a bad preparation thing, though. With them not knowing.
The big key to the game, though. Kansas City special teams blocking Jake Moody's extra point.
Oh yeah. You always just know that, like, when a play like that happens, like a blocked field goal or just some sort of special teams play like that happens and it's in a close game, you just always know that no matter when it happens, it could happen in the second quarter. It's going to end up playing a big part in the game.
Well, like, exactly, because that last drive, if they didn't block that field goal or that extra point, it's a 4-point game.
Oh, I know. That's a completely
Kansas City has to score a touchdown.
They don't kick the field goal at the end.
Yeah, it's a completely different story. Then it's just really interesting. It's just really interesting how, like, when you see a game that's between two very good, pretty evenly matched teams, like a little mistake like that, no matter when it happens in the game, 9 times out of 10 is going to have an outcome on the game.
It dictates the game.
Yeah.
The bigger special teams play was after the Niners stopped Kansas City again. Kansas City punts. The Niners.
Oh, dude.
Gunner, the ball hits his foot.
Oh, yeah.
That was a bigger play than the extra point being blocked.
That was all the momentum. All the momentum at that point in time from then on was on the Chiefs.
That set the Chiefs up in the red zone. And it's not
they
like
had the game
it wasn't like an egregious error. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That was the game. Unlucky. From that point on, the Chiefs.
You talk about freak accidents. That was a freak accident.
Yeah.
Like,
That was just
holy
really
cow.
unlucky.
It was very, very unlucky. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. That's just unlucky.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate, but like that was the point in time when you saw pretty much everything was going. I mean, it was all going the Chiefs' way from then on out.
You know what I'm happy about?
What's that?
The Kansas City Chiefs didn't win with a score of 22.
Thank goodness.
Because it was lining up for that to happen.
Yeah. At that point, the NFL is 100% scripted. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I mean, I'm getting to that point right now with the NFL, man. It's looking a little fishy. Huh?
They were happy the Chiefs won.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, and it pains me to say this because I love the NFL and I love the game of football, but like there's so much money in the NFL is an entertainment business is what it is. And there is so much money involved in this business. Like they've got to be pulling strings at this point. Like it's just things are so fishy recently. Like they have preferred outcomes. And they've got to be pulling ref strings or something to try to get these outcomes. You know what I'm saying?
The refs were good.
The refs were actually good in this game.
I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying in general.
You can't script that. What? Are you going to go in Jake Moody's ear and tell him to kick it low? You're going to tell the gunner to stand this exact blade of grass on a muff punt? Execute better and you beat Kansas City.
Hey, you want to listen to me for a second? I'm saying in general, yeah, the refs were okay in the Super Bowl, but I'm just saying in general, things have been fishy in the NFL recently, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay.
I wanted to see where that was going.
I could not possibly disagree with you more on that point.
All right.
You can't.
I don't think it's.
You go ahead and do that. I'm not saying it's scripted. I'm just saying they have preferred outcomes, and it is not out there that they would not kind of pull some strings to try to get these outcomes to happen. That's all I'm saying.
Did you see that video of like Roger Goodell talking to Taylor Swift and
Yes.
like Joe Biden tweeted after he was like, "We finally did it," or something like that. Like, the right team won.
Just like we drew it up. That's kind of weird.
That was yeah.
Everybody wanted the Chiefs to win, so they got their good nice out. I mean, once it went to overtime, it was over for that.
I did too. Dude, I saw something the other day, and I forget exactly what it said, but it's talking about those late game like clutch moments throughout history or whatever, or in these close games in the playoffs. It said that Tom Brady.
I know what stat you're talking about.
It was like 45%. Oh, I got it right here. Right here. Ready? So since 2001, there have been 125 drives in the NFL postseason where it was at least the fourth quarter.
With less than a minute.
Yeah,
down
less than a
7 or
minute
less.
to go, and they're trailing by 7 or fewer. It said Tom Brady, and they've only, out of 125 drives, only 40% of the time the team on offense pulls it out. And some of the names are pretty good. So it says Tom Brady went 5 for 11 at about 46%. Drew Brees, 3 for 6, 50%. Patrick Mahomes, 7 of 7.
For 6 years, by the way. Only 6 years. He has not missed a nut crunching, balls to the wall, legacy on the line situation.
I'm just gonna throw this out here. Patrick Mahomes is the most clutch player of all time.
Yeah, I would say it's too early for that, but he's up there.
7 for 7 already.
Yeah. I think this is a great way to segue into my point.
I was going to segue for you, Nick, but I'll let you
Nick,
take over.
our minds on the same wavelength. I knew that you needed that time.
Here's the situation, right? Listen, if you all are like, oh, I appreciate greatness, you all are going to be sick of Patrick Mahomes when 14 more years passed and he keeps doing this.
So, like, here's a question that I have for you, real quick, before we get going. You hate Tom Brady, and you just hate his legacy and what he did. But like, why do you love Mahomes so much then? What's like?
Mahomes isn't fraudulent when it comes to his stats in postseason games. But listen.
All right.
After the Super Bowl, I said Patrick Mahomes was the greatest quarterback of all time, the greatest quarterback to ever play. I don't actually believe that yet. But he is without a doubt a top 2 quarterback of all time already. And it pains me to say that because the guy he just passed is the best quarterback in Colts history, in Peyton Manning. But Patrick Mahomes has already eclipsed his postseason legacy in 6 years. He's 15-3 all time in the postseason. He's got 1 more Super Bowl, 2 more Super Bowl MVPs than Peyton Manning. It's just not even a contest, and that is the one big bugaboo with Peyton Manning was his postseason play. Not all his fault, but a lot of it definitely was to a certain extent. He was not great in the postseason. But people are like, in order for Patrick Mahomes to pass Tom Brady's GOAT status, he's going to need to win 8 rings. No, he doesn't. Absolutely not. Are you out of your mind? He's got 28,424 passing yards throughout his career, right? Thus far. This first year of his career, he only played 1 game, passed for like 280 yards, so I'm taking that out in account. So in his 6 years being a full-time starter, he's averaging 4,690 passing yards a season, so about 4,700 yards, and 36.5 touchdowns per year. Okay? If he keeps that pace up for as long as Tom Brady played in the NFL, so 16 more years, he's going to finish his career with 103,200 passing yards. That is 23,000 more yards than Tom Brady had by the time he retired. Okay? You go to the touchdowns, and if he plays for as long as Tom Brady does, Patrick Mahomes, he will have 803 touchdown passes. Again, blowing Tom Brady's touchdown pass record out of the water. It's not even a comparison. And this is just in the regular season. He's got the best 6-year stretch any quarterback has ever had in NFL history, including Tom Brady. He's made the AFC title game in all 6 of his years being a full-time starter. I mean, you've all heard his accolades over and over and over again, but 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 4 appearances, 2 MVPs, 2 5,000-plus yard seasons, a 50-plus touchdown season, and he's got another probably 10, 15 years with the way quarterbacks can play at this level. So the people saying that he's on tape the best quarterback I've ever seen, just with his style of play in a vacuum. He's better than Tom Brady. I'm sorry, but he is. Tom Brady does not ad-lib plays nearly as well as Patrick Mahomes can. It's just, like, I'm tired. I'm not going to sit here and deny Pat Mahomes his flowers as much as I hate seeing the Chiefs win, because it's not fair to him. He is doing things that the Chiefs might be the NFL's version of the 90s Bulls, where it's like because who's going to topple them right now? If there's one team I'm somewhat confident it is Cincinnati, just because they're the only team that's done it before. But Cincinnati's going to probably lose T. Higgins in a year or two. Their defense heavily regressed this year. And all the Chiefs' defensive pieces are only going to get better with age, outside of Chris Jones, who's probably going to retire in like 2 or 3 years. But outside of that, everyone else is just going to get better. And the Chiefs didn't have receivers.
You do also have to keep in mind, the Bengals' defense did regress this year, but they were also very young.
Yeah, I know that. But so are the Chiefs' defense. And the Chiefs' defense was a top 5 defense in the league while being very young. And the Bengals' defense was pretty bad this year.
They've developed all pros all over the defense.
Me and Joel wanted the Bengals to get some of those guys.
Yeah, no. Literally, the past 2 years, George Karlaftis, I wanted them to take him so bad. Trent McDuffie, the year before. I've been pissed, to say the least.
But I will say this: after Tom Brady won 3 rings in 4 years, there was a 10-year period where they did not win a ring. The Patriots made the Super Bowl twice, but they lost to the Giants both times. So we'll see if
Eli,
if Travis Kelce, because he's not going to be with the Chiefs for another 10 years.
he's about out the door.
Yeah.
He's getting to that.
I don't know about out the door, but he's not going to be with
He's
the
like
Chiefs.
34. I give him a couple more years, maybe.
I mean, like three or four. I would say 2 to 4 more years.
Yeah, elite tight end play, probably. But outside of that, once they lose Travis Kelce, it is going to be interesting to see what Patrick Mahomes can do. But a lot of that offensive line is still pretty young. Isaiah Pacheco and Rashee Rice look like stalwarts for the next decade on their offense.
Pacheco.
I think Pacheco will fall off, and some of their offense. Like, don't get me wrong, their offensive line they've developed, especially in the interior, some good guys.
Interior's good. Tackles are rough.
That's what I mean. Their tackles are terrible. I don't think their tackles are very good at all. But you have Joe Tooney, you have Trey Smith, and who's their center?
What's his name?
Humphrey, right?
Yeah,
Creed Humphrey. Yeah, another one that I wanted the Bengals to take, Creed Humphrey. But those three right there, I'm set on those 3.
They have not given up a holding call in any of their 3 Super Bowls that they won. Did you see that?
That's impressive.
Did you see the blatant one they didn't call on Nick Bosa?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that just the issue on their offensive line is their tackles.
Yeah, they lost Orlando Brown.
They lost Orlando Brown, and
offseason.
who is the other one across from him?
He retired, didn't he?
I thought he went.
Maybe he went somewhere.
He went to Jacksonville, didn't he?
I think he did.
Was it
I
that
can't
guy?
remember who it was. Huh?
I can't remember his name, but I think it's that guy.
Let me double check. You guys keep talking. I'll figure it out.
One thing that I think is something to note is Patrick Mahomes, more than likely this offseason or next offseason, is going to restructure his contract to open up the cap flexibility. He already said he was going to do that, which then gives them
more room to sign
Chris Jones this year, Jarius Sneed.
Then you get McDuffie in there too.
Yeah. So I think he's probably going to take that pay cut here this offseason, I would believe. And then, yeah.
That's probably what he should do.
Yeah. So now, do I think the Chiefs are definitely going to be the team to beat year in and year out, but I don't think they're going to win like 4 straight or something like that. It's never happened before. So I don't know if they're going to go on a 10-year drought like the Patriots did with Brady, but
they won't go on a 10-year drought, but they're not going to win every single freaking year.
Yeah, I hope so. They'll get knocked off a couple times, but
yeah, they're going to get knocked off. They will get knocked off at least once because the Bengals will get to the Super Bowl again at some point. And then you've got the Jags could get there at some point.
Don't talk to me about the Jaguars. They're the 3rd best team in the division right now.
They could get there at some point.
Bills.
And then you've got the Bills will probably be able to get there at some point. Like, there are teams that are going to take them down like at least once, but the Chiefs are definitely the dynasty. Though.
Yeah, people
like,
said
like
that
the
about
Bengals,
the 90s Bulls too.
The Bengals, the Bills, maybe the Ravens. Probably not the Ravens. Bengals, Bills,
what
Jags.
are you talking about? The Ravens are absolutely in that conversation.
They literally didn't do it at home. I don't know what you want.
Well, they're going to have more and
The
more opportunity.
The Bengals, the Bills, and some of these other teams are going to probably get it at least once, but the Chiefs are going to be the ones to do it like 6 times probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at least in my eyes, I think it's pretty clear cut that Mahomes is the second best quarterback in history. Um, I think talent-wise, he's the most talented quarterback ever. I think, like Nick briefly touched on, just his ability to dictate games is legendary. And like Joel said, what is it, 7 for 7 on drives under a minute, down to 7? That's ridiculous. So he's one of the most clutch quarterbacks of all time, him and Brady. He, at his first 7 seasons, I'm pretty sure he surpasses Brady in almost every stat.
Blows Brady out of the water in terms of their first 7 years.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely on pace. He's gonna give Brady a run for his money. But I think the thing that's really gonna hold him back from taking that step over Brady is Brady beat him in the Super Bowl and in the AFC Championship. So I think that's something you have to put in the conversation is he beat him and he was in his like late 30s. But no, Patrick Mahomes is spectacular. He's unreal. It's annoying that he keeps winning for me, but I mean, like you all said, we have to appreciate greatness, and that's what he is. So yeah, I mean,
Why can't I find this?
I think we've learned our lesson to never bet against the Chiefs again. So
Until the preseason predictions come around, then we'll see what happens.
yeah, we'll be at Chiefs aren't making it.
Chiefs
One of
aren't
us has to at
making
least have
the
him in the
playoffs.
Super Bowl. One of us has to at least have him in the Super Bowl just for like good luck.
Just because,
We'll
yeah.
take the fall. Someone
I
will
know
have
who
to
I'm
take
not
the
putting in the
fall.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the kings of the NFL. And until they get dethroned, it's gonna stay like that. So
Yay!
First team in 20 years to win back-to-back rings. The last team that did that was Tom Brady's Patriots. So, like,
yeah,
I mean,
and they're 100% a dynasty.
yeah, it's not even a contest. The
But it's
dynasty
3 out of the
cemented.
last 4 years, right?
3 out of
There's one?
5.
3 out of
They-
I
5.
think
Fourth year they lost to Tampa Bay.
I think I found. I think it was either Darian
so then-
Kennard or Prince Tega Wanagu.
All right.
Was the tackle?
Yeah.
That
It was-
wasn't Kennard because he's on there. He's still on the team.
So it's
I think.
what
That's
I'm
probably
seeing
what it
is Orlando Brown, Joe Tooney, Trey Smith. Oh, it might have been Lucas Niang.
Yeah. Is Trey Smith still there?
Yes,
Yeah.
Trey Smith is still there. Oh, Andrew Wiley. That's the one that left.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Wiley's the one that left this offseason.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Let me
Who's
double
the one
check.
with the Jags?
Yeah, Andrew Wiley. Andrew Wiley's the one that left and went to the Commanders.
Who went to the Jags? Or did they get the Jags tackle?
They got the Jags tackle.
That's what it was. Yeah.
They got it. It was what, Juwan Taylor? from
Yes,
them?
that's it. That's what I was thinking of.
He's
I
They
had
got
it
Juwan
flipped.
Taylor.
I had it flipped.
Andrew Wiley was their right tackle. Andrew Wiley was their right tackle.
And he went to the Commanders.
He left and went to the Commanders.
What a foolish team.
Does most career playoff wins by a quarterback? Tom Brady is 35, and Patrick Mahomes has 16.
That's wild.
And he's how old is Patrick?
28.
Swagoo
Yeah.
said it best. Did you guys hear what Swagoo said?
No.
You don't know? Do you guys know who Swagoo
I know who
is?
Swagoo is.
He's basically said, everybody was saying, like, trying to say who's the next quarterback to get their first Super Bowl. And he blatantly, he's like, it's plain as day who it's going to be. And Zach, who is it?
I hope Joe Burrow.
He said Joe Burrow, and he went on a 2-minute spiel about it. So
I would certainly hope so.
I think,
because he's the only one that's done it.
yeah.
Well, yeah, he's the only one that's actually beat Patrick Mahomes. So I mean, if we're going by that metric, then yeah, it probably will be Burrow.
Yeah, I think that Joe Burrow.
I think Burrow's got the best chance out of all of them. I mean, Allen,
Well-
if I don't know.
Nick's about to be like, nah, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Well,
Nick, what were you gonna say?
no.
Wait, Nick, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
So when we were talking, directly after the Super Bowl, you said that Patrick Mahomes' final drive was the best fourth quarter drive that you have ever seen. Do you still believe that?
Yeah, absolutely. I still think it. Listen, I was not alive for John Elway's drive against Cleveland or Joe Montana's drive against Cincinnati to win Super Bowls or make Super Bowls, win Super Bowls in their respective categories. But I absolutely stand behind that. Against an elite defense without the safety net of, you can punt it on
He
fourth
picked them
down.
apart.
Yeah, he dissected them. He was directly responsible for 95% of all the yards they gained on that drive. He converted a fourth down with his legs, got 20 more yards with his legs, and dissected the 49ers defense the entire drive. It was the top 3 defense in the NFL after they had just taken the lead.
I'm going to say a couple things that Ryan said when we were on talking about this because I think that was good. Your thing about he was directly responsible for all these plays, well, he was the quarterback. So, yes, he was, as most quarterbacks should be. And then the other thing is that, this was a clutch drive, yeah, but, I'm not sitting there, eyes popping out of my head, drooling, that is the most clutch thing I've ever seen in my life. No, it was a clutch drive. It was a good drive, and I wasn't like, holy crap, that's the best thing I've ever seen. No.
just calm down.
I think his drive against the Bills was better, honestly. His 13-second touchdown. His 13 seconds. Yeah.
One where Travis Kelce had the idea to ad-lib and gave it to Patrick Mahomes to get them into field goal range.
I think that 13-second drive was probably better. I mean, this was a clutch. I'm not denying it. This was not a clutch drive, but I don't think this is the clutchest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Name the quarterbacks in NFL history that could pull that off, and I promise you don't get past one hand. It's
I'm not disagreeing.
Tom Brady, Joe Montana, and that's it. That's the list.
All right, that's great, but this is still not the clutchest thing I've ever seen in my life, though. I wasn't immensely impressed by this drive. It was that was a good drive. It was clutch, he did what he had to do.
I can see both viewpoints. I can see Nick's point of view on this though too. I'll be the one to admit I see your point of view.
But do you honestly think that was the clutchest thing you have ever seen since you have been alive in the game of football?
I'm not going to say that, but
okay, yeah.
But I'm not going to say that, but it was extremely clutch.
Yes, it was a clutch drive by a very good quarterback when it needed to happen.
Name a more clutch
and here's
drive.
The thing. Here's the thing about that drive. That drive, a lot of setbacks happened. MVS being an idiot for one. That was the big thing for me. And then he proceeds. Okay. 2nd and 14, right, Nick?
Yeah, 2nd and 14.
2nd and 14, right back to him. Boom, got it. But it's the thing. It's a mindset. You give Patrick Mahomes 4 downs anytime. 9 times out of 10, what's gonna happen? Well, obviously, right now it's 10 times out of 10. But he's getting a first down. I'm just saying, and especially with his legs, because I don't know.
That's the big thing for me when I talk about directly responsible.
Throughout the game,
an 18-yard.
Yeah, he had an 18-yard scramble on 2nd and 9 to get him inside the 15.
You know what else? There was points in the game where that was designed, where he kept the ball. I don't know why.
That
San
play
Francisco,
was not though. That play was an ad-lib.
That one, no. But throughout the game, they had so many opportunities where he could do that. And when he did, he broke off those 20-yard runs because he had 2 or 3 of them.
They ran read options with him a few times, especially in the fourth quarter, because they had
Sam
not
Fran didn't
run
know
it
what to
all
do.
year.
Called one of those.
Yeah,
I think it was the 4th and 1 where he I was like, I guarantee they're running a read option. That's exactly what they did. And I was like,
I can see where Nick's coming from with that. Because I mean, his ability to extend a play and make a play is, I'm gonna just say it. Probably one of the most elite I've ever seen.
He does not take sacks ever. That's not even a joke.
It's very rare.
Like, Chase Young getting a sack, when that happened, I was like, oh my god, they actually sacked Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's how rare it happens. He does not take sacks at a historic level. That's probably the best aspect of his game, which is crazy to think about, considering how elite he is at everything else.
It's crazy to think, though, too. What's one of the things that everybody harped on him for so long about? He couldn't take a check down. And even throughout the game, the amount of times he checked it down to Pacheco, lots of times. He's gotten so much better. I
think that 2019 Patrick Mahomes doesn't win that game for them, because he'll go for the home run ball too often.
Exactly.
That was his problem earlier last year, right? When he threw a bunch of interceptions. Saying he wasn't getting he was trying to throw those home runs.
Look at that stud behind you.
We had a pretty intense argument about what Nick just talked about for like 10 minutes.
Should we get him in here to finish up?
Said his 2 cents.
He's already put his 2 cents in.
I think I'm not gonna say it's the most clutch thing ever, but it definitely was clutch.
It is the most clutch.
Oh, I'm not denying that it was clutch, but I wasn't sitting there drooling. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is the closest thing to a LeBron James block in Game 7 or a MJ shot in Game 6 of the 98 finals that you will ever see at the level of football.
Personally, I don't think I'm going to look back and be like, dude, that 2024 Patrick Mahomes drive is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
The drive that I'll say is that one.
What?
When Plexico Burress caught it off the helmet catch.
Oh, yes, the helmet catch.
That was David Tyree. Plexico Burress was the one.
That's my bad.
The helmet catch. The
helmet catch. Wasn't Plexico Burress the one that caught the touchdown?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my bad.
The helmet catch and then the Edelman catch in 51. Those were both very memorable moments.
Been intercepted by 3 different Falcons players.
Yeah, it should have, but it wasn't. We had this discussion too.
That was the biggest fluke play in the history of fluke plays.
You want to talk about clutch plays? I know I don't like this team a whole lot, but the Steelers
Santonio
against
Holmes.
the Cardinals.
Oh,
Santonio Holmes. That in my opinion is probably one of the most clutch plays I've ever seen.
That was an insane play.
Yeah, I think that's the only, I guess, problem with the drive is there's no
there's no defining play.
Yeah,
it was just Patrick Mahomes just
ruthless
picking apart
execution.
the defense and picking apart what the defense gave him at an elite level. And probably the biggest play was probably his 18-yard rush. But I agree. I think it's very clutch, but it's not going to be remembered as much because it doesn't have that one defining moment. This was this big play,
Yeah, it doesn't.
But when you're looking at retrospective Patrick Mahomes' career, that drive is going to be on there as a big one.
Yeah, that's definitely one of his biggest drives. But I don't think that's the clutchest thing in the history of the game.
I think Evan, you said that perfectly. It doesn't really have that.
Joe Montana's drive to beat the Bengals didn't either.
Well, I'm not saying that.
So I don't think a drive has to have a super iconic play to be remembered.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But
I forget how much time did Montana have on that drive?
It's a minute or something.
I think it was 2.5 minutes, but he was at the 8-yard line. He had to drive 92 yards and score a touchdown.
So that's that makes sense.
I wasn't alive for that. Otherwise, that would
wasn't
be
either.
up there for me too.
Are you saying I was?
No, I'm just saying I was.
I'm the closest one to it, but
yeah.
But I mean I get where you're coming from though, Nick. I really do. So
well, Nick's definitely eased off since.
No.
I turned on. I'm gonna be totally honest. after that game, I turned off my notifications, and I'm like, I do not want to hear from this group chat because I know that the top. I looked at it 1 second, saw what Nick was saying. I'm like, nope, I'm going to bed.
I definitely
that was literally me too. Like for a while there, I stopped looking at the chat, and like when we were on PlayStation too, like I literally just like put myself on mute and just like stopped listening after a while because I was like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to hear this.
No, listen. Me saying that Patrick Mahomes was the greatest quarterback to ever play, that was definitely to make people mad because it's funny watching you all lose your mind. But everything I said about Tom Brady in the party, I still wholeheartedly stand behind.
Oh, I know you do.
I
know you do.
I showed Ryan that video, Nick.
Yeah, and he just kept saying, it's all about hypotheticals. Nothing about it is hypothetical. It all happened.
Half of your argument's hypothetical. Like, dude, all of his throws and those clutch drives should have been intercepted. Well, they weren't. So, like, if they were, then maybe, but they weren't.
I'm gonna point this out too. Nick, you brought your points on projections, like.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying if he keeps that pace up, he's gonna blow all the records out of the water.
Like the thing that annoys me sometimes is I feel like half of the stuff that you say and talk about and this type of stuff is like it's all like hypothetical and like shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff. It's like what actually happened, you know? Like
listen,
like let's look at what actually happened on the field
we just
here.
argue all the time.
I just don't ignore context. That's all. I factor what could have very easily happened as well into account. On every single one of Patrick Mahomes' plays, there was no if, and, or but about the outcome of what could have happened on that play. And it's like...
I just look at what happened, personally. Like, what happened, what went down. I think that's fair.
Each their own.
As we said, congratulations.
Yep.
As Nick said, put it best, congratulations to the Chiefs on making another Super Bowl and winning another Super Bowl.
We already apologized for it.
Yeah, I think we need to do it again.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
It will not happen again.
Well, I know from here on out, at least one of us is going to have him in the Super Bowl. Winning every year.
Guess what? When Justin Fields gets traded from the Bears, because it's starting to sound more and more like that each and every day. Caleb Williams, there you go, right there. Hey, I'm taking the Bears to the Super Bowl this year.
Gosh,
early hot take.
That's that's not happening.
That's
not happening.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Football now is sadly over.
But
crazy season, but we got draft season coming up this time. We got March Madness in a month, so we'll be talking about that.
Hey Zach.
Yes.
Sports coming up.
I'm just gonna give Zach this little piece of information right here, right now. Zach, this is your dream class.
My dream class?
Yes.
For the draft?
For the draft. Because the offensive line in this draft
so deep.
Is deep as all get out. And so is the interior defensive line.
Yeah.
Well, you would like to hope that the Bengals wouldn't botch it then with both of our biggest leading position needs deep.
Can I say this? Jonah Williams is bye-bye.
Yes.
And you will not see them spending money on it. They will draft one. Because the best right tackle
3 years ago.
Zach, the best right tackle that's available is Jonah Williams.
Yeah, so they got to draft somebody. They should have did it a couple years ago, but
no, they shouldn't have.
Do it now.
For who?
What?
Who?
What are you talking about?
Who should they have taken a couple years ago?
I don't know. I don't know all these guys off the top of my head. I just know they should have probably picked a lineman.
The only time I would have said, okay, go for it, to draft a right tackle would be Penei Sewell. Yeah. And they took Jamar Chase.
I would not have said go for it in that situation, but I think there were other situations where we probably... The Jackson Carman pick was a bust. Let's be smart about what linemen we're taking here.
That's one pick.
Like
That was in like the third round, wasn't it?
that was the second round.
That was the second rounder.
Second. Well, we're track record for draft.
Well, we got a new
And that's a
offensive line coach.
problem.
We got a new offensive line coach this year, so
Oh, really?
or he has it's a new quarterback coach, but he has experience with offensive line.
Oh, thank God.
I just can't wait for the Colts to draft Brock Bowers at 15. Every
I've
quarterback needs an elite tight end to win a ring, and when the Colts get Brock Bowers, it's wraps.
I'm just going to say this. I've seen Brock Bowers anywhere from 5 to 15.
I've seen him at the Bengals.
Yeah, I've seen him at like 5. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If Brock Bowers falls
which is insane because Brock Bowers is a
10,
top 5 talent in this draft.
Yeah, if he falls past pick 10, I will be stunned.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers should not go outside the top 10.
He would be the one guy that I'm okay. Like if he's there and like the Bengals took him over an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle, I would be perfectly fine with that.
It's still technically a position of need, so
I would be perfectly fine. He's the only one though. If he's not there, it better be an offensive or defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman or a tackle.
Well, you know what's going to shake this draft up even more this year?
What?
The amount of teams that need a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. I could see JJ McCarthy going first round. Easy.
I could see
he'll
him
go
going
first round.
top 10.
I could see him going top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll go in the top 15. Be it better or worse.
You all can see what we think on that when we do our mock draft 1.0 here in a week or two.
Let's go.
And you can see what we really think. Little plug.
About JJ McCarthy, if you don't already know.
We're just going to say this. Zach, you're going to be the one to make the JJ McCarthy pick.
I'm going to make it.
Zach will make the JJ McCarthy pick.
He's going to not pick him.
I know.
I won't pick him.
He won't.
Even though it's plain as day, it's like Denver's up. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I think JJ McCarthy to the Broncos is probably the best fit.
Or Seattle.
Yeah, or Seattle. Those are the two places I want him to go.
I would say Broncos because of Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. All right, yeah.
Zach's
I'll make that pick.
I don't care.
I'll make that pick. But, yeah. And then we got...
Whoever picks the Bengals better not botch it.
Oh, I'll botch it.
They're not going to botch it. We got... we'll react to our preseason playoff predictions. That'll be a really funny video. And then throughout the offseason, we're going to be doing some off-season like breakdowns, like team by team, division by division. So we'll get really in-depth into what each team should do.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned for those.
Oh, yeah.
Because, me and Joel love the draft, big draft guys. And we'll probably do a live stream during the draft again like we did last year.
We have to do that again. That's a must.
Yeah, we will.
Well, it was a talk that we would go.
That's still in talks.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to go, like, it's literally free.
In Detroit, too.
So, we'll have to wait and see. It just depends on, one, if I'm still teaching or not.
Yeah.
We'll
for
see.
me. So, we'll just wait and see.
That would be pretty cool.
So that's
we got a lot of fun stuff coming up.
Up and next, yeah, should be good. We got to start. We got to. Now the football's over. You got to press for content, but we got.
I think we've got some ideas.
We'll make it.
We got some movies. We could do some movie stuff in there too.
We can do. There's always NDA content.
Speaking of that, you guys need to watch Madam Web within the next week so we can review it because I've heard it is the worst
I'm not wasting my time
movie.
watching that movie.
I'm gonna go see it.
Okay,
what's it on?
It's like a Spider-Man movie.
If all of you go see it, I will also go see it.
The theaters.
Oh, it's in theaters right now.
It just came out.
It just came out.
But supposedly
I was wanting to go see it tonight, but I can't find anyone to go with me.
Supposedly it's like one of the worst superhero movies ever made, but I kind of
Kevin said it's worse than The Flash, so
than The Flash, huh?
That's what Evan
It
said.
has
So I'm
it got a
So that's what-
17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah. If it's worse than when you told me that people are saying it's worse than The Flash, I was like, all right, I gotta go see it now because there's just no way. Like I have to see it to believe it.
So we'll do a little film review on that. It should be fun.
I would have given The Flash a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes.
How about a 5?
It's freaking terrible.
We are not getting into the debate on The Flash on here.
Dude, we need to start doing stuff like this, man. Like, I mean, I love sports and stuff. Like, especially now that football is over. Like, we gotta branch out into some other stuff, man. Like, we can have some good debates and other topics too.
Our holiday movie one was pretty good.
That was a good one, yeah. And like the Batman one is our most viewed video. Like,
No, we'll get into that stuff.
the Batman ranking.
Slowing down.
That stuff. I feel like that type of stuff is like, it's like fun and it's like less like we don't have like actual heated argument. Like sometimes I get a little tired of having like heated arguments. You know, like it's nice to just have like
on The Flash.
Well, I mean, it's like a different type. Like, we aren't actually getting mad at each other in that argument. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
With sports, like we will actually get mad at each other. Like it, like.
Hold on, we will get mad at each other. Who's the instigator?
Weaver gets mad at somebody, and then his logic drives Joel nuts, and then Nick gets mad because Weaver's usually mad at Nick, and then
Like, what are you?
Normally, it's me and Nick getting mad at each other, and then occasionally me and you, Joel, because me and you see eye to eye on most things, but there are a couple small things that we will get like.
The one that fired me up more than the Jets was when you called Lamar Jackson a running back.
Oh my gosh.
you're never gonna live that one down.
No, I never will. I mean, everything else that I said about him still stands and is true, but that one thing is the one that's like wrong.
That's gonna live with you forever.
Until he just starts sucking, which I long for that day.
Well, guess what? We're gonna all go gray and old, and we're gonna be like, you remember that day when Zach said that Lamar Jackson was a running back?
Then
He'll die on the spot when that happens.
You're lucky that we don't have a massive following, or that would have been a much bigger deal.
Yeah. It's a good thing that was said a while ago.
I long for the days if we do get a massive following, because I want stuff like that to be a big deal. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, I do too.
I do too.
All right, well, I'm gonna wrap this up.
Sweet.
If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Stay tuned for all of the projects that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
It's Ellie De La Cruz time.